Hello, hi, happy Monday, Facebook. We got Instagram with us as well. I'm so happy to be live with you all because what you don't know is that for a long ass time today, I've been trying to get this live stuff to work. I don't know if anyone else has had a problem, if it's Facebook, Instagram, or if it's my internet. Joshua says, Happy New Month, my friend. Happy New Month to you. Happy September, everyone. And for those of you in the US, happy Labor Day. I hope you all are relaxing and having a beautiful weekend. I still wanted to hop on live even though it's a holiday because I've got some new content for you I want to share. I'm excited about. We're going to dig into repurposing content, specifically 6 ways to do so. So before I do, I have a quick announcement for you all. I am hosting a free masterclass this month. So for the month of September, I'm really excited about this one, y'all. This one is super near and dear to my heart. It is called Stop Hiding in Plain Sight and Get Paid. And there's a link, Facebook below here, Instagram in my profile. This is something for any of you who have known me. Hiding in plain sight is something I've talked about a lot. This is something that I used to have a black belt in. It was like the queen of hiding in plain sight, and it really affected me as an actress. And now when I started my business, it really affected me in my business, and it's something I see come up a lot with my private coaching clients. So I'm really excited to dig into this one. I think it's going to be something that resonates with a lot of you all. And then we're going to take that and talk about how to stop hiding in plain sight and get paid. So sign up for that. That is later this month. Now, today, repurposing, that's what we're talking about. So last week, we talked a little bit about the mindset of repurposing content, the resistance that can come up around it, why some of us don't want to repurpose our content. We dug into some of the benefits, not only for us, but for our people, for our clients, for our audience as well when we repurpose content. So last week, we talked mindset. This week, I want to talk strategy because I think everything we do, it's got to get that mindset piece in place, and then we want to talk strategy. So I've got, and hey, I see a couple other people on Instagram. Say hello. We're just starting to dig in, and we're talking repurposing content. So I have 6 ideas for you all today on repurposing content. So I don't know about all of you, but I find for most of us, when we hear repurposing content, we tend to think it means, and that the whole crux of repurposing content is what I call the Control-C approach, which is just copy, paste. And we think repurposing content is essentially copying and pasting our shit all across the internet. I shouldn't say shit. Our beautiful content that we've worked really hard on all across the internet, and that it's just copy, paste. And while this is an awesome approach and a great thing we should do, I really see copying and pasting our content. So let's say we have a blog post, copying that and sharing it on Medium, or we have a video like this and we add that to YouTube. While that is a way of sharing our content more than one way, I really see that as distribution and as marketing our content. And I think when we repurpose our content, if we think a little bit like what we do when we repurpose furniture, we take something that already exists and we find a new way to use it, or we find a way to make it look shiny and new. Maybe we buff it up, or we add a new coat of paint or a new seat to it. Repurposing content is the same way. It's the same thing. It's taking something and finding a new use for it, finding a way to make it shiny and new, finding a way to repurpose it. So it's more, in my opinion, than just copying and pasting, though that is still an effective approach. So let's dig in to, let me pull up my notes so that I can make sure I don't miss any of these for y'all. My internet is so slow today. So the first approach that I think is really effective, these are all really simple, and I'd love to hear from everyone as I'm sharing these, which one resonates with you the most and which one you'd like to try in your business, because I would love to encourage everyone to try repurposing their content a bit, because it is a great way to help us get out of overwhelm and get off that hamster wheel of creating content. So the first idea I have for you is called the mini method. So think about mini candy bars or anything mini in our life. We tend to love mini things as humans. So as much as we love a big candy bar, we love a mini candy bar and getting that bite-sized taste of candy. The same thing goes with our content. While we love great big chunks of content, our audience also really loves mini tastes of content. It allows them to try it out and it makes them want to have more. And this is a great way to think about repurposing a longer piece of content. It's to break a big piece of content down and break it into essentially new little mini pieces of content that are great for sharing across, say, for example, social media. So great way to do this is to take something like a blog post that we have written out that's a longer form piece of content and to break it up into mini pieces that you can then turn into an Instagram post or to a Facebook post. If you have a longer video, long videos are great. You can chunk them down and share them on an Instagram story, for example, or on IGTV. Is that how you say it? IGTV? If you have in-depth course material that's a lot longer, again, you can break that down and segment it into smaller pieces of content, maybe a podcast or a live stream like this. So you get the idea. What I would say here is we can, as we're doing this, we can take this to the next level by not only breaking it down and making a mini piece of content, but also elevating it by maybe adding in a new intro or a new quote or a new closing thought. So that is the mini method. And just as I'm sharing this, I'm getting new ideas. I'm thinking you could also, for example, then even take an Instagram post and break that into a new quote or something you would share as a tweetable on Twitter. So there's so many ways we can take longer pieces of content that we've already created that are original to us and break them down, chunk them down into something reusable. All right, let me know if that's resonating with you and if you guys want to try any of these. So the second approach here is, I call this the convertible approach. So I think of this, do you guys remember those weird tops you could buy? They were selling them online. They were like these tubes. It wasn't quite a tube top, and they were advertising like packs of 3. And you could wear it as a tube top, or you could wear it as a mini skirt, or you could like fold it up and like put it over a tube top, tank top to make a new top. It was this weird convertible tube. And it was basically one band that could be worn multiple ways. And while I wouldn't, no offense to anyone if you have those in your closet, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think we can take that approach and use it with repurposing content. And this is the same thing with anything we have that is convertible and is used more than one way. It's essentially taking something and finding lots of uses for it. And so we can do the same thing with our content. This is when we take, again, let's say a blog post we've written, and we use the same content and we turn it into something else on a new medium. So for example, what I'm doing here, this is what I would call the convertible approach. I'm taking a blog post that I wrote, that I shared with my audience, that we shared last week, and I'm converting it and turning it into a new piece of content on video, on live stream here. So you could do the same in reverse. You could create a live stream, or you could create a podcast and turn it into a transcript and turn it into a new piece of content. Hey, I see some other people on Instagram say hi. We're on Facebook as well. We're talking about some ways to repurpose content and to get more bang for our content, to stretch it out. Talking about right now what I call the convertible approach, which is taking a piece of content and we are converting it into another medium, essentially. So I think this is especially beneficial for our audiences because we all learn in different ways. So some people learn by reading, some people learn by listening, some people learn by watching. So when we use this approach, we can take the same content that we've poured our heart and soul into, the same material that we've created, and find a new way to connect and share with our audience. So I do this pretty much every week when I talk with you all live here. This is the convertible approach. I'm always taking something I've already created and I'm finding a way to connect with you and share it in a slightly different medium. But the content itself really isn't changing. So I don't have to create something new each week. Hopefully that idea makes sense. All right, so the next idea here is, third idea, is to create a collection. So this is great for anyone who, and hey, I just see someone join us on Facebook. We're talking all about different ways to repurpose content. So let me know if these are resonating with you. So the third idea here is to create a collection. So for anyone here who has created quite a bit of content at this point, if you've amassed a body of work, this is a great strategy for you, a great way for you to stretch your content. So this is essentially taking a whole bunch of content we have, smushing it together and creating a collection. So this could be, for example, a series of blog posts where we make a few edits and we turn it into an ebook or into a guide. This could be a series of videos that we've created where we turn it into a mini training or into a challenge. This could be a bunch of PDFs that we have that we turn into a resource library. So you could also do something I've seen done really well is on your website, you could create a best of section where you reshare some of your content and you're turning it into a collection, or a favorite section. I do this about twice a year. I like to share a best of from the year content that I really like that has connected with my audience. And so I'm reusing and repurposing that content. I'm compiling it into a collection. So I think one of the ways that we can make this idea work really well is to be thoughtful when we're doing this and to pull content together in a way that logically makes sense. And if we're doing something like creating an ebook or a guide, making sure that we're connecting each piece of content again in a way so there is that through line. So it still tells a story. So it still tells us a beginning, middle, and end, and we're not just slopping a bunch of stuff together, because that's, I think, when we take the art out of repurposing. So that is creating a collection. All right, the fourth one here I think you all will like. It's getting paid. So I'm sure most of you know I'm all about giving away tons of free valuable content so that we can connect with our audience, so that we can show up and let people see what we're all about and create those relationships. But we can also take the same free content that we're sharing and repurpose it into paid offers. And hey, I don't know who just joined on Facebook, but say hello. We're in the middle of some ideas around repurposing our content. So I know when I share this sometimes with clients, there can be a ton of resistance that comes up around this, because I think sometimes we think, I just created all this content for free. Why would anyone pay me for this? But I'm guessing pretty much everyone who's watching here has paid for some repurposed content in the past, and they've done so gratefully. So often, and hey, I don't know who just joined on Instagram, but say hello, we're talking about ways to repurpose your content. So often we pay for content versus consuming free content. We're paying for something that's been simplified, for something that's been put into a system or into a framework, for something that is solving a problem for us, and usually for something that gives us some logical steps that are laid out for us. Free content, on the other hand, tends to just be a bunch of random content that is shared around similar topics. The difference with that and that paid content, again, is paid content is going to organize all of that information and lay it out in a way that really makes sense so that someone can follow it and get a specific result. So I'll give you just a great example of this. I'm sitting next to my desk here. I've got a whole bunch of books that I really love from some authors I'm a really big fan of. And these are essentially repurposed blog posts, repurposed content that these authors have created for free. I am very happy to pay money for, because I don't want to sift through years and years of their content online to try to make sense of it, to get the information I need that's going to be applicable to me, that's going to give me the result I'm looking for. I'd so much rather pay the $19.99 or whatever it is to have all that information condensed for me, organized for me, laid out in a way for me that makes sense so that I can get the result I'm looking for in a much faster and more efficient way. And so the same thing goes for all of us. If you have a body of work, a body of free content, you can take this and repurpose it into a paid offer, whether that's a mini course, a course, an ebook. So for all of you who are watching, I would really invite you to take a look at all the work you've created and see, is there some content that in your body of work, is there some content you can organize in a way that has a linear path that people can follow to get a specific result? Is there a way your content can be organized into that collection we just talked about, but that really takes people to something that takes all of that, organize it, gives them step-by-step process to get that result they want? In that is the case and you have that, you might have the makings for a paid offer out of content you already have created. So you can repurpose content into a paid offer. I have successfully done this in the past. I think it's a really great way to stretch our content and to have people consume our content in a different way. All right, so hopefully you all liked that one. And you guys, I can never see if I have comments on Facebook. They always pop up so late for me. I don't think I do. And Instagram, don't know who else just joined, but hello, hello. Okay, so the fifth idea here I have for you here is called the multiplier method. I had fun with these names. I hope you guys like these names as much as I do. So I think for all of us, for any of us who are in an industry that we're entrepreneurs and we do work that we're really passionate about and that we feel really connected to, we have so much we could say around pretty much any topic. So I know on any given blog post or video that I share, I have to hit the delete button and delete massive amounts of words and content I want to share because I have so much I want to say around the topic. And hey, I just see some other people join on Instagram. We're talking all about repurposing content from the strategy perspective, and I'm on the fifth idea here. So most of us have so much we want to say around a specific topic, and we often can't say it in one piece of content, especially if we want that piece of content to be really effective and to help people, because it can be a bit of information overload if we cram too much into one piece, into one, whether it's blog post or a video. So what this approach of repurposing content is going back to those previous pieces of content that we've created that have been really effective, that have really connected with our audience, that really speak to our zone of genius. And instead of trying to come up with a whole new idea or a whole new topic that we can share on, taking the same content, taking the same kernel, taking that same piece that we want to share and repurposing it by creating a new story around it, by creating a new way in which we explain the same topic. Because most of us need to hear things in more than one way for a concept or an idea to click. So for example, I talk about mindset a lot in as it relates to our business. I talk about fear a lot. So I will often talk about fear and talk about the same, even idea of fear in the same way to approach it, but from a new lens, through a new story, through a new example. And I'm essentially repurposing content. I'm repurposing an idea and I'm packaging it in a new way. Joshua says, it is my birthday today. I'm off to dinner. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll watch the replay. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy Labor Day. Enjoy your dinner. I'd love to hear what you think about this on the replay, but oh my gosh, go enjoy. Happy birthday. And everyone else, I hope you're enjoying your holiday. And this is a funny day to do a live, but I wanted to get this in for everyone today. So going back to the multiplier method, I think this is probably one of my favorite ways to repurpose content because it is a way that we can continually show up and talk about the things we are experts in, the things that we are passionate about, the things we do have a lot of insight and resources and ways to help our audience. And it allows us to show up and speak about the same thing in new and different ways. And I think that really is so much of what repurposing content is about. Again, it's not always just taking the same thing and regurgitating, it's off and just doing it over and over again and copying and pasting. A lot of times it's taking the same thing and finding a way to have it be new, better, evolved. And I think this is, again, a way that we can really find new and interesting ways to talk about those things that we've already shared with our audience and hopefully connect with them in a different way. So I think, again, just the way to do this that's really easy is to look through your body of content, find that piece of content that's really connected with your audience, that you've had either a lot of feedback on or that you just have so much to say about, and take that same idea and just find a new spin on it. All right, and then the final idea I have for you all in terms of repurposing content is what I call the smoothie method. So if you think about a smoothie introduced us to a whole new way of enjoying fruit. Before we ever had smoothies, before smoothies became the craze, when we would eat fruit, what would we do? We just like have some strawberries over here, we'd have some blueberries over here, and we just eat them one by one. Maybe we'd make a fruit salad and we'd have them all together. But smoothies elevated this. It repurposed our fruit. It took a whole bunch of different fruit and threw in some other ingredients, put it into a blender, blended it all up, and it gave us a whole new taste. It gave us a whole new concoction. And we can do the same thing with our content. I think this is a really lovely way to repurpose our content. And we can make our own content smoothie, which is, hey, nice to see you. Who is this? I just joined. Claudia, nice to see you. We're just talking about repurposing content. I've got 6 ideas here today, and we're talking about the last idea here, which is called the smoothie method. And it's essentially creating a content smoothie. So the way we do this is we find a few pieces of content that, again, have really connected with our audience, that speak a lot to our zone of genius, and that follow a similar theme, similar but slightly different. And we can pull a little piece from each one of those pieces of content. Then we can reassemble them and essentially blend them together, maybe throw in a few extra ingredients, a few extra sentences, and we can blend them together and create a content smoothie, aka a new piece of content. And I love doing this, especially when I'm maybe feeling stuck on an idea. I'll look through some of my past content and I'll pull a little bit from here, I'll pull a little bit from here, I'll put a little bit from here, find a new way to thread it together, and I've got something completely new, except for it isn't new at all. So that is probably one of my favorite ways to repurpose content. Hey, I see a couple other people on Instagram with us. Say hello. Let me know if this is resonating with you. So for me, I think that's a really fun way that we can also get our creative juices flowing when it comes to repurposing content. So I hope some of these ideas clicked with you all. I'd love to hear, especially those of you watching on the replay, which I have a feeling, since it's Labor Day, will be quite a few of you. I'd love to hear which of these ideas clicked with you the most, which idea, hey, nice to see you. Just closing up here on some ideas around repurposing content. I just love to hear what you want to try, what you would like to implement in terms of repurposing your content, because repurposing our content can really go so much further than just the copy and paste approach. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just to show you some other ways that you can really, with a little bit of thought and intention, take your content, repurpose it with a bit of art and elevate it to an entirely different level and find a whole new way with the same pieces of content to show up, connect, and serve your audience more powerfully. So I don't know who just joined on Facebook here and who's catching the end of this here, but I'd love to hear again which of these really connect with you. I hope that this week's content will inspire all of you to take one of these, try this out, and find a new way to stretch your content and find new ways to interact and build those connections and relationships with your people, and find new ways to repurpose, to put some art into it, to put a new gloss, to put a new finish, to put a new spin on that content of yours so that you get off the content creation treadmill and so that you all stop feeling like you're a one-person production company, because I think that is one of the complaints most of us have when it comes to creating content. We're just getting stuck on that hamster wheel. So that is what I've got for you all today. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, for those of you who are catching this late, I shared with everyone at the beginning, I've got a free masterclass for this month coming up on the 17th. I would love, love, love to have you join me. We are going to be talking all about how to stop hiding in plain sight and get paid. This is something near and dear to my heart. I'm super excited about this one, so I hope a lot of you will join me for that. Thank you for the hearts. There is a link in my profile, everyone, for that. This is going to be a good one, and I think this is something that speaks to pretty much everyone, because I think a lot of us get really sneaky with hiding in plain sight. Sometimes we think we're showing up and we think we're getting visible, and we're still wearing a lot of masks around what our message is, around who we truly are, around what we really want to do. So I'm really excited to dig in with this with all of you. And other than that, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Labor Day and the rest of this long weekend, and I will see you all next Monday. We'll have another live, I'll have another topic then. Thank you guys for joining me. Sending a whole lot of love. Save, share, and then you guys, I'm gonna say bye and live video.